Welcome to Critical Hit, a Major Spoilers podcast. Thank you so much for downloading and checking us out for another mailbag episode. We're going to get right into it. Will the Gray says, is everyone remote now? How has that impacted your gameplay overall? Does it impact your enjoyment? Everyone is remote, which, I don't know. Has it impacted your gameplay overall? It is sometimes hard to know what everyone else is doing. Like, if I do something that is devious as a GM, are the other players picking up on these little things that I'm dropping?
Well, and part of that is because we don't actually see each other's video.
Yeah, we don't even turn on video.
Because we are recording and like video eats up resources, and sometimes it's hard enough to just get audio.
Yeah.
Depending on what we're doing.
Yeah.
When we're playing, like the times that some or all of us have played off mic or whatever, we turn the video on, and that makes it a little bit easier if you're like actually looking at people.
Mm-hmm. Does it impact your enjoyment? I think for me it does. It was always fun to see Rob just, crack up at something that somebody had said or done and not being able to unmute his mic or something. That was always good when we were around the table. Rodrigo, What about you?
It's different. I do kind of miss rolling out the big vinyl map or whatever it's made of.
Mm-hmm.
But, virtual tabletops are actually a pretty good tool, even if Roll20 is extremely idiosyncratic. I have now lived with it long enough that I can basically get it to do most of the things I want.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the other thing is that I don't live in the same city as literally any of my friends that I've made up to this point, right? I've made some friends here, but I didn't go to school here. None of the Major Spoilers people are here. None of like my old classmates from elementary or high school or anything live here. So I enjoy playing remotely, and that's what we do for Major Spoilers or for Critical Hits. So I'm just used to it.
Yeah. Brian or Rob?
Yeah, it can be kind of hard, especially like just in general, like conversation. It's like you don't want to like talk over everyone, but then everyone kind of waits, and so you want
everybody waits and then jumps in at the same time. Yeah.
Rob?
There's that the trying to wait to find the point where you can jump in, and then it's so much easier to be distracted when I'm in my room at my desk than it is when I've got at least 2 or 3 other people that I'm like looking at and hanging out with. Like I can be more attentive when
is it because we used to play in Steven's basement and he had movie posters, a life-size Batman, a pinball machine. So I think we've played distracting places as well.
Valid, but I do have like 8 or 10 different things that I can fidget with at any given moment.
Well, and you're literally at your computer, so yeah.
I'm at my computer. My phone is right next to me on my desk. Like I can. Yeah. There's so many more things here, and there's also nobody like looking at me to like
just say stop.
There's no one to engage with sideways. So
Totally. That's a really good point.
Yeah, even when we were like, because Matthew was always away.
Always
we've played in a room with Matthew maybe once.
Well, I hate to say this because I want everybody to keep it under control, but the whole time that I was running my Exalted game, I found out that some of the players were like constantly like whispering to each other on Roll20, like you roll a whisper or whatever, or like /W or whatever. So you and what I found out is that it was actually kind of in character. A lot of the time, it was just happening while like everybody's there, but a player is talking to an NPC, and it's like it makes sense that 2 characters would whisper to each other. But because I wasn't privy to it, I'm like, well, you guys have to tell me afterwards if like anything came out of that, because I'm not gonna know.
Yeah.
So if you ever need to go over to Brian's character and say something and it makes sense for it to be a whisper, feel free to whisper it and then just tell me later.
Will also asks, has anyone on the team gone back and listened to the Void Saga stuff? I've been re-listening lately and thought it would be great to hear from you all now that there's plenty of distance from the original play, like a season-by-season retrospective.
That would be hardcore.
Yeah, it would be. Maybe a little bit too nerdy, too deep.
I mean, I have gone back and listened to some episodes, but it's kind of been some like greatest hit stuff or some stuff that I was like, man, I remember we did this thing and that was pretty cool. Like probably the episode that I've gone back to listen to the most is when we did a play.
Oh, right.
Where like I wrote a play and everybody in character took parts in the play and did a play for
the gods or something.
Yeah, it was for Malgoubliet, I want to say.
Yeah.
Oh. So it was like I love that. I don't know, like to this day, that's probably one of my favorite moments in the Void Saga. Just because everybody seemed to be having so much fun with it, and it was pretty light. You know, there's some really heavy moments in the Void Saga. But yeah, I've gone back. Actually, I went back recently and listened to a handful of episodes from the Void Saga because, and this is probably not a good thing in the long run, now YouTube has Google's AI assistant just right there in the video, so you can ask it to summarize things. And I've been trying to trip it up by asking questions. and sometimes it's really good. Sometimes it's like, yes, Little Sparkle did this. And sometimes, like, actually, I did it for the episodes that we've released of Lancer on YouTube, and it referred to Rob's character the whole time as Dr. Beast. So I was like, well, clearly the technology is not there yet, but it is like an interesting little thing to do. Of course, now I feel like I need to like dump like 40 gallons of water back into the ocean or like into a river system to make up for it. But
hold on, I'm writing that name down.
Dr. Beast.
Dr. Beast? Yeah, that's a good name.
Just in case.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that's a different name.
Rob, do you go back and ever listen to Void Saga stuff?
I don't think I have. There was a couple episodes that I explicitly used to like get some specific friends to listen.
Oh yeah.
The one that I've used the most was when we first meet the elves living in the trees and
making do.
Yes. Brian's old roommate Corey has listened to that episode a few dozen times because that joke cracks him up every single time.
Yeah, that's
and I knew it would. Like, so that's how
I think sometimes going back. I'm probably the only one that does go back and have to listen to episodes again because I'm editing them. And there was a time in Void Saga where we were like way ahead of what was being released and where I was editing. And there was a point where Orem, I don't know, disassociates from his body, and he's going to all these different places. And one of the flashes that he has is of this mangy dog that's coming down the road. And then like 2 weeks later is the one where we released that episode, or we recorded that episode of when I played the mangy
Plague
dog.
Jackal.
Yeah. And it was just like, I was like, oh, that was great foreshadowing that, you know, it was one of those blink and you miss it kind of moments. But I do think that going back and repeated listening to all of the shows, you should go back and start with episode number 1 and work your way up all the way to this episode right now, and then go back and just restart it again, because I think there's so much enjoyment for everybody to have had by listening to it multiple times, including all the ads that are inserted. That's probably one of the most important parts, is making sure that you're re-downloading the episodes each time and getting new ads. Yes.
I mean,
Brian?
we did establish in the last mailbag that we do get some payment for this. So that money has to come from somewhere. So please re-download the podcast and listen to the ads.
And I would say that if you can just kind of re-download the episodes each time, that is kind of a big deal, as opposed to keeping everything on your hard drive so that you can go back and listen to it whenever. So, Brian, how often do you go back and listen to the Void Saga?
Oh, no, I don't.
Boo! Everybody boo this man! Boo!
Brian is just that kind of perfectionist where he like listens to it like, I could have done so much better. No.
Yeah, no, like just you talking about listening to that play episode, and it's like I just kind of die inside. I made like a very
no, you did great, Brian. You did great.
I made a very specific character choice that oh man, I'm just dying of cringe, and then you had us doing it again, and I was like, no.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
That is true. That happens sometimes. For example, that making do moment, I hated, but everybody loves it. So definitely at this point, like almost 20 years later, I'm like, fine, whatever. It's not a big deal. But at the time, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I know, right?
The closest I get to re-listening to it is like occasionally I'll go back and find like the Flailing Wings animatics.
Those are the ones that I watch a lot.
Sure, yeah.
Like particularly the pumpkin incident. I love that.
I wish they could have done more of those, but I understand.
Yeah, totally. Hey, listen, current listeners.
Yeah, if you want to animate stuff, go for it.
If you want to animate any chunk of the podcast, go for it. We love that stuff.
Yeah, it's great. Has anyone played Daggerheart yet? And do you have any thoughts?
I haven't. I've read some of it, but I haven't played it.
I haven't looked at any of those. Like, there's a real crop of like D&D alternatives that came out when the kerfuffle with the OLGL really came out, and that one I haven't really looked at all. I basically just looked into reviews of it just enough to see how much the cards actually are like a necessary component of the game or not.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like not really. They're just like basically you have your feats on them and you choose.
Yeah, they could be like a character sheet.
Yeah, and so that was a little disappointing. I'd say of those ones that I've looked at the most, well, I guess there's the Dungeon Coach one that I did back, largely because it seemed to hit the right level of crunch of my interest, but it's still in development, and I'm still waiting for that to come out.
Sure.
But Draw Steel is probably the one I've actually sat down and read some portion of, because it's largely a tactical, very strongly influenced by 4th edition, and that's again my particular favorite kind of flavor. But Nimble also seems interesting because it is so light and quick, so that one I might look into more.
Richie asks, would you ever want to bring back a retired character for a non-canon spinoff? For example, Coffee Shop is a one-page RPG where you essentially take characters from your other campaigns and force them to work together in an alternate universe cafe for a day. Even if you would never do this in practice, who do you think has the most untold potential for a Goofy spinoff? Probably Goofy and his son.
One of the most popular Tumblr posts that I've had was this idea for a critical hit fighting game, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, but it was like a cross critical hit is like who would be your main, and people voted, and like the options were like all of the Torkel tones, but also like the proxy, Hecubino and Vangi, and like a bunch of NPCs too, because Tumblr lets you do a ton of options. Pretty much everybody went really high. Actually, Hecubino had like almost no votes, or maybe 0 votes, which I think is hilarious. Because the proxy got it's not like, oh, we hate Rodrigo. Like the proxy got lots of votes. Also, it was on my Tumblr. But
that doesn't sting at all.
Yeah, definitely something like that would probably be okay. We kind of like. I would be fine if somebody wanted to do that and bring their, like, if everybody picked a character that they've played and played it there, I'd be fine. And we could even get around the never been heard from again thing, because, whatever, if that's what Matthew wanted to do, that would be okay. But somebody else would have to run it. I probably wouldn't run it.
Yeah. I would really try to push for everyone choose a character from a different game.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that would be the thing, right? To have the Colonel from Haze of Shadows and He Who Shall Not Be Named and
Skradic.
Yeah. Yep.
Sure.
Yeah, that would be interesting. So I think now probably would be a good time for me to mention I was sent this game a while ago. It's called Questionable Characters. This is from a company called Deck and Dice Games, deckanddicegames.com. And we can't really play it. I thought we could play it here, but the problem is there's some like cards and numbers and certain questions that only certain people are supposed to read. Like there are GM cards and there are player cards. But the gist is this is kind of a warm-up game that you can play before you sit down or, you know, when you're doing other stuff. And everybody gets to play in their character or as their character. So, for example, one of the card questions, this is a GM. I don't know why this is a GM card. It says this is definitely a GM question. If a player attempts something impossible, do I, A, let them roll even though they can't succeed, 2, let them roll because anything is possible with a nat 20, or 3, don't bother having them roll. And so there's a question that some GM might be asked, or have I ever killed a character that annoyed me? And then everybody puts out their card, either even or odd. And if there's odd, everybody puts out an odd, it means yes. And if everybody puts out an even, it means no. Rodrigo, have you ever killed a character that annoyed you?
I've never killed a character because they annoyed me.
Oh, okay. And then there are some player characters like, has the party ever crossed the line? Yes, not yet. There is no line. If I could save all but one character from death, who would I leave behind? Those kind of questions. So my backstory is dark or light, and everybody guesses even or odd. So there's this card mechanic that goes along with it. But I thought I would mention it because they did send it to me kind of to check out. They sent me a little sample review unit, but the more I looked into it, the more I was like, oh no, we can't play this on the show easily. And so, but I did want to mention that so people don't think that I just take your review stuff and then don't do anything with it. But it's called Questionable Characters. You can find out more at deckanddicegames.com. This is a non-paid for promotion. Just me being nice. Richie asks again, any advice for when the party collects too many NPCs or companions, especially powerful ones? My party has a habit of inviting side characters for long journeys, and there's never been a good reason to say no at the time. Now, 3 hirelings, 2 baby griffins, a Tagalog romantic partner, and the vessel of a sun goddess later, I find myself losing track of things like which NPCs should have been able to translate the infernal script or where we hitched our donkey before entering the dungeon. My advice would be to get a bag of holding and put everybody inside and then forget to feed them. Problem solved.
I feel like that might be like a good potential to do like a Ars Magica style trope play where basically you have to choose like one, like there's branching adventures basically, and
like multiple things at once.
Who goes on which? Yeah.
Unfortunately, as Richie says, he's already done this. So how does he manage it?
I would say the easiest way to do this is to give them all something to do that isn't necessarily going on the adventure, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, stuff like this has happened in the Void Saga, but they're already set in what they do, right? Like the crew at Rutile Island or all of the engineers that you guys just met, they're not going to go on adventures with you, but they're your support staff that stays at your base, right? Even if you have a traveling group, that can be arranged in some ways. It does get more complicated if you are traveling and it's not by boat or maybe caravan. But yeah, basically giving them something to do, you as a game master say is like, okay, well, somebody needs to like babysit the dragon egg of like the other companion that you guys are eventually going to get. Is like, well, let's have everybody who's not a PC do that, or everybody except for the one NPC we want to bring, or whatever. The other thing that you could do, but you'd have to gauge the room, is to say, just like a PC is in danger when you dive down into a dungeon, so is an NPC. So if you bring your girlfriend, you have to be okay with the fact that you might not come out with a girlfriend out the other side, I suppose, in multiple different ways.
Yeah. Yeah. Rob, any thoughts?
Nothing actually. Like, my general thought on that is to learn to say no beforehand.
Yeah, it's already too late for that.
Unfortunately, you're already too late for that. But yeah, like Rodrigo, I was sitting there thinking, drop a meteor on all of them. They're all in danger. While Rodrigo was setting up the whole, they're still people living in this world. So anytime you're in danger, if they're next to you, the same danger applies. Like, you can potentially find the one they like the least and accidentally kill them off.
Yeah. Again, Orem had the solution. Orem had the solution with the bag. Okay, so this is an interesting question from Alex. What are the biggest differences you all have noticed between D&D and Lancer regarding community and culture? Rodrigo, how about you answer that one? Because I don't know how involved everyone else is in the community, and I have some very, very hard thoughts on this.
Okay. Well, in my opinion, Lancer is this is not my opinion, this is true. Lancer is a much, much smaller community than D&D, right? Especially if you look at all D&D and D&D adjacent stuff, the community is enormous compared to Lancers, right? Some of the places that I've been to, like PilotNet, the Lancer Discord, is like very nice and very open and has like hard guidelines for like not, being a bigot or a jerk or whatever, like, and the mods enforce them pretty hard. So it becomes a very like easy place to exist, especially for minorities, marginalized people, and other stuff like that. A lot of D&D communities lack those guidelines. Some of them have them, some of them don't. And the other thing is that, there's so many more options with D&D, right? There are like 100 or more D&D influencers putting out stuff just on YouTube, right? Like there are like 4 of us doing Lancer. And I can't even do it that regularly. So it's, in a lot of ways it's slim pickings, but the community in general, especially because of Lancer's themes, the people that tend to gravitate towards Lancer make the community a little bit easier to exist in.
Yeah. Do you guys, Rob or Brian, have thoughts?
Nothing more than what Rodrigo's expounded on.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't say I've really been involved in the community of Lancer in any way to really speak of. And
yeah, so here's my unfortunate negative take on this. Most communities, given time, turn into a toxic wasteland of just vitriol and violence. And I say this because I'll go into a hobby or an interest or whatever, and I'm like, oh, I'm having really a lot of fun with astrophotography. I do have some questions. Let me go and try to engage with the astrophotography community that's been around for 100 years. And these people are like, I can't believe you're asking this noob, and just very toxic people getting into fights over like the stupidest things. And I see the same thing happening in video game communities, in RPG communities, in book communities. Every community has a very toxic side that you need to be aware of. So if you are in a community, as Rodrigo said, the Lancer Discord, which has very specific rules, then that's probably a good place to go to because people are civil and nice, very much like the Major Spoilers Discord, where we have some very set rules where we do not allow toxicity to permeate the community and turn people away or turn people off. But man, every community that I have tried to tangentially brush up against very quickly reveals its toxic, nasty side. And I'm just like, nope, sorry. I don't want anything to do with the community. I'll go in and lurk. I'll go in and read occasionally, but I am not engaging. So that's probably the unfortunate side for me, that I'm sure Lancer is fine. Sounds like a great group of people over on that Discord, but I bet if I went into some Reddit community about Lancer, it would just turn into a pile of poop pretty quick. So unfortunately, that's my thoughts on those. Now, I haven't been engaged in both of them because of what I previously said. Jimbo Fett says, what are you most looking forward to in the comics and comics adjacent world? Oh, we are into generalized questions. What am I most looking forward to in comics and the comics adjacent world? I guess I would say I'm interested to see what happens with this Warner Brothers thing, to see what's going to happen with DC movies.
DC Comics.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what's going to happen in May. Free Comic Book Day is still going to technically be around, although companies that are with Penguin Random House, Marvel, DC, and others have had to rebrand their version of Free Comic Book Day to Comic Giveaway Day because of the trademark on Free Comic Book Day. So I'm kind of interested to see what happens with that. But I don't know if there's anything that's super big that I'm super looking forward to that. I am looking forward, hopefully in 2026, to get the full set of DC United, that game, because it's a lot of fun. They have the Batman version, the Batman Hush version, out in stores. It's been out for 6 months or so, and that's a fun game to play. If you like Marvel United, DC United is the same way. So yeah, maybe that. Rodrigo, do you have anything?
Probably just looking forward to like more indie stuff. I've been reading a lot of like Matt Cave books.
Matt Cave, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that imprint kind of like appeared out of nowhere as far as I'm concerned,
mm-hmm.
and has kind of become one of my favorites. Like sometimes they come up with stuff that I don't particularly like, but they're putting out so many new minis
mm-hmm.
all the time, which is kind of my preferred thing to read nowadays, is like non-capes and tights miniseries. So I'm just, hopefully they're doing well. They seem to be. So I'm usually looking forward to see what I see from them. Same thing from like Dark Horse. Dark Horse also puts out, miniseries here and there. Nothing, but there's nothing specific right now that I'm like, when this comes out, I'm gonna love it or whatever.
Okay, Brian.
Man, I've not really been much on reading comics, and yeah, like I say, the whole Netflix acquisition has really kind of put a big question mark on most of the stuff I was at least interested in seeing. I mean, I'll definitely am interested to see Supergirl. I hope My Adventures with Superman season 3 still happens.
Oh yeah, right. I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll just wait and see. Lanterns. That seems interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Clayface. Like that's weird.
Oh yeah, the Clayface one. Yeah, that one's going to be pretty cool too. Yeah. Rob, what about you?
I'm excited to see what all of the new movie and television stuff is coming out for comics right now. Like, I still think I've still been enjoying Marvel, even though not as many people have been.
Sure.
I bet the thing that Rob is most looking forward to are all the Marvel Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, etc's Magic the Gathering sets that are coming out.
So, as I was saying, I'm going to bring this back around to the conversation we were having before we started recording. MTG TMNT comes out in March, and I am going to be the brokest person ever because I don't know how I'm going to be able to control myself.
I'm just glad that they're not doing a Jumpstart set, or I'd probably also be in trouble.
Can you not buy like a complete set? Just, you're going to have to pay a lot more money for that. But back in the day, I remember when Marvel, back in the 90s, when they had their Marvel baseball card set, I just waited, and about a year after everything was released, I just went into a baseball card shop, and they had like everything. I could just buy a short, long box of those cards and have them all. But
that's
Rob's not just a collector.
Rob's in it for the adventure. Yeah.
I'm a player. Like, I'm going to need those cards within that first week in order to be able to participate in events and have what's actually going on. I'm going to be drafting more than I have. I'm in the month and a half that Turtles is going to be the focus, because that's all it's going to get because of the timing of it for next year, because there's 7 friggin' sets coming out. In the month and a half that it's going to be live, I'm probably going to draft more than I have in the last 3 years I've been working in a game store.
Wow. Is TMNT the biggest one that's coming out next year that you're excited for? Because I know that we said Avengers, and there was some other one that's coming out next year that's a big deal. Is it Avatar?
Avatar just came out. That's what's currently going on. The Avatar set is phenomenal, and I recommend it to anybody who has any inkling in wanting to look at magic at all and likes Avatar. Because it, unlike Spider-Man, they clearly were trying to get everything correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man, I enjoyed Spider-Man, but it is not good.
It's kind of a mess. Yeah.
Have there not been like statements that the TMNT set's going to be kind of more like the Spider-Man set, not
yes
as draftable? Yes.
So Spider-Man was originally. This is mostly conjecture, but it is conjecture that is 99% confirmed. Spider-Man was originally supposed to be a set built the same way that Aftermath and Assassin's Creed were, where it was a small set of maybe 100 cards. You didn't have any commons. It was only uncommons and mythics. But because both Aftermath and Assassin's Creed absolutely failed because Wizards refused to price them at a price that matched the amount of cardboard you're getting, Marvel looked at it and was like, no, you can't do that. That's the part that's conjecture. We don't know if it was Marvel that said that or Hasbro.
Right, or Hasbro,
But, like, the sets that they were imitating blatantly bombed and failed, so they needed to change it. That the problem with that is they found out way too far into development, and so a set that was supposed to have 100 cards got more than doubled.
And
so there's just a bunch of like lackluster, like, you can look at almost all of the commons and they're like, this is boring. This is like why do we need bagel and schmear or a hot dog cart or
why not
a city pigeon? Like, none of those, like, some of those cards are actually well designed. Actually, like, I like the design on all three of those cards, but they're not exciting. They're clearly like, we need to fill space. What can we grab? Spider-Man didn't actually have enough to fill in the bare bones of a draftable set.
Yeah,
those are the ones I'm going to get specifically to put into the TMNT cube I'll make.
Sure.
I mean, those do also belong. I mean, it's New York.
That's all New York.
We're going to be in New York 3 times in the same year, or within a year.
Yeah,
because of Spider-Man, then Turtles, and then Marvel Superheroes comes out in June.
And is there also a Dungeons and Dragons set that's coming out, or is that? I thought there was like a Dungeons and Dragons themed Magic.
No, there's a Hobbit.
I knew there was the Hobbit one.
Oh, yeah, the Hobbit. I forgot about that.
So Norwin, Turtles, Strixhaven, Superheroes, the Hobbit, Broken Reality.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever the big culmination story is, where they're going to blow open the Magic multiverse and create a new one or something. I don't know.
Beyond the Edge of Eternity.
Yeah. And then the year ends with Star Trek, which
that's the one. Yeah,
is weird.
I mean, maybe not if it's part of a big multiverse thing. Makes sense. What property would you want to see? I know Rodrigo is totally against any of this, but what property do you want to see in your Magic the Gathering?
The most exciting rumor I've heard is the Stormlight Archives.
Okay,
Brandon Sanderson, I think. Right? Yeah, like that one, because that's already got a magic and fantastical setting. Like, that's more what I would like to see, is more stuff that actually like plays to Magic's strengths. The other problem with Spider-Man was that, like, this doesn't feel very magic-y.
Magic.
Oh, I know what they can do. They could do Spider-Man One More Day Magic the Gathering. Then you could just reboot that whole set.
Parts of that.
You could reboot that entire set and then do it right.
So, I mean, Avatar was kind of a sweet spot for me as to, being a licensed property that felt right for Magic that I can think of. So I guess maybe, getting more Avatar, the not Last Airbender stuff.
Yeah. Legend of Korra action.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, getting a second and they did leave the door open with that, with it just being only Airbender.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's see. Janice says, And this is where Rodrigo can be nasty compared to my my D&D Lancer community comment. Do you listen to any other actual play podcasts, Rodrigo?
No, I don't. And for some reason, I can't stand actual play podcasts, which is, I know, hilarious. Having been doing an actual play podcast longer than anybody else, except for Acquisition Sync. I sit down to listen to them, and there's just so many things that I don't like, and I just stop. I can't do it.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I try to listen to actual play podcasts. There was a Call of Cthulhu one that I was like, oh, let me listen to this, but it's not edited. And I don't know. I like to have people that have a little bit of expression, that get excited when they're doing things. And I find that a lot of the other actual plays are not that. So that's disappointing. The only actual play podcast that I listen to is the Adventure Zone. I think they do a very good job in their show. That's my brother and me, fellows with their dad. I think Brian is the one that got me hooked on that.
Yeah, I listen to that. I'm way behind on that. Like, I'm still at the beginning of Abnormals on Adventure Zone.
Oh, yeah, that one's a fun one. Yeah.
But largely because I listen to that with the wife, and so it's kind of, we have to wait till we're driving somewhere to listen. Since we started that, we discovered Dungeons and Daddies.
Yes,
the Anthony Birch game, and we both really enjoyed that. And
isn't that the one with not Jimmy, the Rocket Jump guys? Isn't that one?
Yeah, it has Matt Arnold and Freddie Wong.
Freddie Wong, that's right.
Yeah. So that's one we really like. I'm looking at my phone right now, seeing what other actual play podcast. Kill Every Monster is kind of an actual play. It's like half actual play, half discussion, and it's all just one shots, but it's one I enjoy. Just flipping through, seeing if there's any other actual plays. I just kind of subscribed to Skyjacks, but haven't really listened to any of it yet. But that's largely just because I enjoy Aaron Cantano from All My Fantasy Children, and he's part of that. So we'll see if that stays.
Mm-hmm. Rob, do you listen to any actual plays?
I occasionally listen to Bacon Flavored Pods, which is Tom's podcast.
Oh.
And part of the reason I listen to that is because the biggest reason I listen to that is because he's my buddy.
Yeah.
But also, like, he's had me on a few of the episodes, which is where I played with the person Cosmo who asked the question.
Yeah.
Was it this one or the last?
Last episode.
These things blend together.
Yeah, they do. That's what happens when you record multiple episodes in a single session.
Right. But other than that, like, I don't even really listen to ours. Like, I'm with Rodrigo. Like, this feature doesn't appeal to me.
Yeah, it's the creation. It's the play that is the play part. That's the way it should be. And if you have fun, and so there's another question here from Spin Dizzy, who says, well, I think it's more about getting into the hobby of RPGs as opposed to podcasting. But here's the thing: if you're genuinely having fun at the table recording your show, and you're being welcoming to your listener. Now, we don't always address the listener in our shows, but we know that the listener is there. And so if we're having fun, and it sounds like we're having fun, and it sounds like we're being very welcoming to people, then that makes it all, that's fun for us to sit down and record that. The upshot of that is when we release the podcast after it's been edited, other people enjoy that as well, or at least I hope they do. If not, they let us know. And so I think that's what kind of separates, and I'm not saying ours is the best podcast, but I think that's what separates good podcasts from so-so to poor podcasts. And that's just in general, are they welcoming to the listener? Is it exciting? Is it concise? is there gatekeeping going on? We don't want that kind of stuff. And so I think those are some of the what makes some of the shows that we've mentioned very good. Okay. Anth asks, if you were able to go back and change something in the podcast's history, what would it be? And when I read this, I thought it meant podcast history, just all podcast history.
All podcast history. I would change the name to Listenaroos.
Yes. I would make sure that everyone knows that podcasting started in 2005, not when cereal became popular. I think so here's one thing that we probably would have been better at, and we would probably be in a better position had we turned on the monetization nozzle sooner. But this is what happens for anybody that steps in the water first. They're the ones that get eaten by the sharks. When I first started putting a tip jar on the Major Spoilers website in 2007, something like that, 2008.
Yeah.
This was before a lot of people were doing any kind of, it was always just buy my merch kind of stuff, not just, hey, if you enjoy what we're doing, give us some tips, give us some money. And then later we had our own page, and then Patreon came along. Problem is, people just really took offense to asking for money. And so that really caused me, by the time we got to starting Critical Hit, to just pull back and say, I guess I'm not going to mention anything about it, because people get so angry when we say, hey, we're doing this for free and there is a cost associated with that. We could charge you for it, or we can keep it free with advertising, or you can support us, however. I just waited too long on that. So I think if I were to go back and change it again, I would, if people started to complain, I'd just be like, okay, fine, we'll just cancel the show. And then you won't have anything. Or you can help us, or we can get more advertising or more sponsors. And I think that would have changed it, because a lot of people who came after us had no problem saying, hey, this is our first episode, give us money, we're on the Patreon and all this. And that's the absolute wrong way to do it. But I think it was that negative of, oh man, you're just selling out, that I just was like, whoa, what do you mean? I'm busking on the street, little value for value, please. That I would go back and change. Rodrigo, would you go back and change anything in the podcast's history? Start it sooner, start it later, make it a video podcast?
I've made a joke about this. Like a half joke about this at the end of the Void Saga, and they're like, would it change anything? And I was kind of like, maybe don't do it. Like, I'm not saying don't do the podcast. I'm saying, like, maybe doing D&D for as long as we did, or for or any D&D, was not the correct thing to do. I think about that every once in a while. People love the Void Saga, and that's fine. I'm not saying, like, I wish that we had never done that. But sometimes I think about how many people we pointed at D&D and Wizards of the Coast. And although
we helped create the monster,
although we've maintained a decent relationship with Wizards of the Coast.
Well, not after Rob's comment a few minutes ago.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, we could have done that for
Pathfinder,
Evil Hat. We could have done that for Pathfinder. We could have done it for so many other places, and it would make a bigger difference, right? Our audience, which is not negligible, right? Our audience is sizable.
Mm-hmm.
Pointed at Wizards of the Coast doesn't make as big an impact that if we like pointed the whole thing at something like Evil Hat, or individual creators, like we did Panic at the Dojo, we did
so here's my argument, here's my counter to that. You're absolutely right. I don't think we would have risen to popularity, because if we weren't doing Dungeons and Dragons, we would not have been ever on the front page of the Apple iTunes Store. And we were up on the Apple iTunes Store. In fact, when they relaunched their podcast player
app.
When they relaunched that, we were a featured podcast because we were doing Dungeons and Dragons, and because we had the huge downloads. So
I mean, that's Go ahead.
So on the one hand, because of Dungeons and Dragons, we were pushed to the forefront for that.
Yeah.
But that also meant that everybody else started jumping on Dungeons and Dragons. And so I would argue that we have done exactly what that you wanted to do in the beginning by featuring other ones. Since we are done with Dungeons and Dragons, 4th edition, we have not gone back to Dungeons and Dragons. Instead, hey, let's look at Evil Hat. Let's look at, Shadows, Haze of Shadow stuff.
Panic at the Dojo.
Yeah, Panic at the Dojo. Let's look at all those.
Monster Wrangler.
I think now that we are seeing Dungeons and Dragons have an implosion, I think there are going to be people who are going to be out there looking for other things. And guess who's been doing other things longer than a lot of other people have been doing other things? So
Sure.
I think that helps us out if someone's like, yeah, I've heard about this Fate system. Oh, yeah, Critical Hit did a Fate system years ago. It was great. It was a superhero thing. You should go listen to it. It was Steven's favorite game that they ever did. Yeah. And then they never revisited it again. But I mean, we've kind of done that. We are kind of now trying to focus on all these other games that not a lot of other podcasts are focusing on. So,
sure.
Yeah. Brian, is there something that you would change in the podcast history?
Not really thinking of specific things right now. I don't know, man.
I know one thing I would do. And another thing I would do is some of our wonderful, wonderful fans tried to create a Wikipedia page for Critical Hit.
A wiki, yeah.
And no, not a
Wikipedia.
Wikipedia page. Yeah. And somebody at Wikipedia deleted it and said not relevant. And that hurt. And so I would have, and I should have, said, did you know that Wikipedia said that we're not relevant? Dear listeners, go back in and just flood that Wikipedia page and just keep creating the Critical Hit page until they leave it up.
I mean, we're not on Wikipedia yet. Go do that now.
Yeah, I mean, go do it. And people have created wikis, which I appreciate, but that Wikipedia takedown was, I think, the one thing that we could have probably pushed our fans to get back on. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a poor podcaster sitting here recording 818 or however many episodes we're at now, over 818 episodes. People said we'd never make it this far. Yeah, look who's podcasting now. Rob, anything you would change?
I'm going to say a dumb one.
Okay.
I would change Smith's last name.
Why?
Because I originally gave Rodrigo one before that session and just forgot that I had done so and made a random name based on the posters on your wall.
I see. All right. Spin Dizzy asks, what's one pro tip for someone just getting into the hobby?
I think look outside of Dungeons and Dragons, definitely.
Yeah, probably.
I'm not saying don't play D&D. Play D&D, but don't be afraid to check out other systems.
Yes, there are other systems. Not all of them are as big or complex as Dungeons and Dragons. There's a bunch of them that are a lot simpler, a lot cheaper, a lot of them free.
It'll make you a better Dungeons and Dragons player to check out other systems. A lot of the stuff that I get praised for. That I got praised for during the Void Saga comes from actually having started with World of Darkness games and then played other games. I played Rifts, right? And then taking those lessons and applying them to D&D, and that'll actually make you a better, more well-rounded player.
Rob, do you have anything?
I have a counterpoint to Brian's simplicity. If you're the Rob of the group, there's so many more complex games out there too.
There is.
There's so many more ways to tickle your brain pan.
I would say if you're trying to get into this hobby of just tabletop role playing, just sit down and have fun. Do not try to be like a podcast or one of those video shows that you see on YouTube or wherever people are streaming their games. Don't try to be those people. Too many people, I think, sit down and think that playing Dungeons and Dragons or Fate or Panic at the Dojo or whatever is simple and it's going to be magical and everyone's going to have this grand time. And yeah, eventually I think you will, but I think also at the same time, you have to realize that you're going to stumble because your GM isn't going to know all of the rules. Your players are going to have questions. People are going to say things that are inappropriate, or you're going to have to stop and say, hey, what are the rules that we want to sit up at this table? So have your own fun. If you want to have a raunchy 80s comedy set in the world of Dungeons and Dragons, then do your raunchy comedy. If you're not putting it out for anyone and it's just for you and your group of friends, do whatever makes you happy. But don't try to emulate somebody else, because then you're just going to be disappointed.
Well, especially because Let's Play, or I keep saying Let's Plays, because actual plays are usually trying to be entertaining to an audience.
Yes.
So they're not always necessarily all that entertainment to the players, although obviously everybody still tries to do that. But they have a different priority, right? Like your priority should be the people at the table. Even as a player, your priority should be your fun and the fun of everybody else who's at the table. Mm-hmm. And you don't need to like go any further than that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Rob or Brian?
Yeah, I mean, I think y'all pretty much covered it. Yeah, don't be afraid to jump in. Don't feel like you have to be as good as Matt Mercer, or Brendan Lee Mulligan, or Rodrigo Lopez. I mean, just have fun. Have good.
Or
times
Brian
with your
Bergdahl.
friends.
Don't forget to mention him.
That's right.
Anth says.
You know what Brian does is he gets me hooked on new systems.
Yes.
And then I'm like, can somebody talk to me about Monster Wrangler? And it's like a brand new game by a small print. Nobody's talking about Monster Wrangler except for me, and just screaming it into the stratosphere. Yeah. Like I'm like, somebody talk to me about optional abilities for monsters.
We haven't done that game in a while where it's like, hey, I want to play a game like the Scooby-Doo Mysteries. Brian, what game system would be great if I wanted to do a Scooby-Doo mystery?
A Scooby-Doo mystery? I mean, I feel like Bubble Gumshoe would probably be a good one that you mentioned earlier. Mm-hmm. Monster of the Week. I mean, there's like a Meddling Kids playbook and that specifically, and definitely some setting options in some of the later supplements that would very much make that very easy to do in that system.
What if I was really into wrestling and I really got wrapped up into this whole John Cena's final battle and the Mick Foley thing? Is there an RPG system that would let me do a wrestling RPG?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, especially if you're like talking like Mick Foley, which is more kind of like behind the scenes kind of drama happening there. Yeah. Worldwide Wrestling would probably be a real good option for that. It is powered by the Apocalypse system, but it's like, yeah, definitely kind of more about like trying to manage your cards and the selling, matches and like, but they're still like predetermined and, outside of kayfabe. Trying to think. I mean, I know that there's Wild World Wrestling, which is more all entirely inside kayfabe, but that is like an older D20 variation. I don't know if that's one I'd really suggest, unless that's really your thing. I don't know if I've seen much in the way of like just wrestling games.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are just doing this. This is live. This is no editing. Brian's not looking this stuff up as I shout out. I want to do a 70s Grindhouse RPG, Brian.
Oh boy. I mean, Spirit of 77 is probably your best bet on 70s Grindhouse.
I got one.
Okay, go for it.
I just got Steven into what he calls the Little Trash Boy anime.
Gotcha, Kuda. Oh.
Yeah. So, yeah, well, what do you think? What do you think about that?
However that is pronounced. I was actually watching some of that last night. Man. I'm trying to think if he just would want to go. I don't know, like any system, like maybe the Hopes and Dreams thing from Odysseus. I don't know. I haven't read enough of that to really say. I think you might just have to like get like a generic anime RPG and adapt.
What is a good generic anime RPG?
Oh, it's kind of what you're into. I mean, like the most famous classic one is Big Eye, Small Mouth.
Oh, right, yeah.
There's also like the OVA RPG, which is a more streamlined narrative one. I would personally suggest checking out Valor Heroic Fantasy RPG. It's a more tactical one with a lot more resource management and like an effect-based power creation system.
Maybe when this is out, Panic at the Dojo 2nd edition will be out.
Yeah, that could also be an interesting one. There's oh man, what is that one? I know there was one that John liked that was like very much a JoJo game with the serial numbers filed off. That that could be a good fit if I could remember what it's called.
Rodrigo, you got another one to throw at him?
Sure. What about Only Murders in the Building? What about like a group of sleuths
who also do a podcast?
Who also do a podcast? Yeah, I mean, real crime meddlers.
I almost wonder if like that shouldn't be like one of those letter writing games where you like
like a journaling game.
Yeah, like a journaling game, but repurpose the journaling into podcasting. Also, I should say I haven't seen this show. So
okay.
Actually sure how like the format of the show goes.
Sure.
Zany antics as people try to solve the murders in the building.
See, that's the thing is like that's the only way to actually stump Brian is to get him something that he hasn't seen because he already knows what game it is. He just can't match it to the property.
Yeah. Rob, do you have one to try to stump Brian?
Because of zany antics, I wonder if you just like took like inspectors and then just didn't make it supernatural.
Oh, sure, you could do that. Yeah.
Parks and Rec.
Ooh.
You might got me there.
I mean, there's Primetime Adventures.
I was going to say, and these like not like action focused, like comedic or dramatic shows. Primetime Adventures is often my suggestion for just something like that, just a more character focused thing. I
don't know this one.
Trying to think of something that really just fit primetime. I mean, like you could probably do something with Cortex as well.
Cortex. Yeah. Like actually, I'm playing Parks and Rec. I just reskinned D&D with like the Bastion and thing, and it's like my Bastion is just Pawnee.
What if cryptid hunters? We want to hunt real cryptids. Mothman, Bigfoot.
Want to go squatching?
Yeah, we do.
Squatching. Yeah, see, and like again, my mind kind of jumps to like a Monster of the Week or Bump in the Night, which is like a Bump in the Dark. I mean, which is the Blaze in the Dark reiteration. But I feel like for that concept, you'd actually would want to go like lower powered.
Sure.
So like not even iHunt. I feel like iHunt would also be too fighty. But yeah, maybe I really should sit down and read the Gumshoe system someday and see if that's
it's pretty. Gumshoe is pretty interesting system. I don't know if it would be perfect for cryptids. It would work for an X-Files type show.
If you want a system in which the monsters absolutely will wreck you, like New World of Darkness is actually like a pretty good system for getting destroyed by a monster.
Yeah, playing Mortals with the
playing Mortals. Yeah.
What about Cyberpunk that is not Shadowrun?
Well, there is Cyberpunk Red, which, the Cyberpunk, it's the most recent edition of the game that Cyberpunk 2077 is based off of. So, I mean, there's that. One that I keep meaning to sit down and read is, Neon City Overdrive I've heard good things about, but that's not the one
Neon City Overdrive is great.
Yeah, that's one I need to get as well. Okay, what is the one where it's like kind of a anime cyberpunk sitting like the Lagrange point between the Earth and the Moon? Trying to think what that's. I can't think of the title.
Oh, we got him stumped again, ladies and gentlemen. Gravity Falls. I want to play Gravity Falls.
Monster of the Week.
Probably. What about...
Well, I think you'd want to go more comedic than Monster of the Week. I think, it's like, again, I hate, just pulling out the same system over and over, but I feel like Inspectors would probably be like a good
That one is
Monster
so versatile, right? I mean, you can do Heist with that. They have a Buffy the Vampire Slayer version of that.
I think you might be thinking of
Fiasco. That's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah. But still, Inspectors, though, is really versatile. I think that... I talked with Matt Brawley several months ago. He's the creator of Amphibia. I think Amphibia, Gravity Falls, Disney's leaving some money on the table by not creating RPGs of that. And we are seeing a lot of RPG systems that are based on existing IPs.
Yeah, nowadays, if you don't make a video game that's a follow-up to a beloved or cult classic game, or an RPG that tied to that property, somebody else is going to make it. Somebody else is already making like a Parasite Eve, like Heartbreaker. Somebody's already doing like...
Alien has got an RPG now.
Yeah, like The Cross. Somebody's already working on like a Gravity Falls, Owl House, Amphibia. I mean, I'm not saying this is actually a thing, but like, that somebody's already working on this.
Yes, but unfortunately it won't be the quote unquote officially branded.
No, it won't be. It won't be titled.
No, but it could be. It could be a Monster Wrangler, aka it's not Pokemon, right?
Brian, what if I wanna recreate my award-winning Twitter thread in which a bunch of cute skater kids fight the Babadook?
Fight the Babadook. Well, I feel like Slug Blasters comes to mind if you want, or you could probably, if you don't want to go quite that wacky, maybe like just modify kids on bikes to kids on boards.
See, man, we should just make this a regular. We should just skip one episode a month and just do Let's Quiz Brian, and then this will promote all of these. This will promote all of these small indie game systems that people are not familiar with. All these indie game systems can contact us, and they can secretly slip Brian money under the table so that he announces their game just out of the blue. This is something we should market heavily on, guys.
It gives Brian an excuse to read more RPGs.
Yes, exactly.
Not that he needs one, but like then he can be like, "No, honey, I'm doing this for work."
Yep.
Okay, I found Hardwired Island
Island, yeah.
That's the cyberpunk game I was not able to think of, and I had to look up because I hated not being able to say it.
Wow. I'm really impressed, Brian, by your deep knowledge of that. So, Anth says, is it worth detouring to Kansas on a road trip from Chicago to New Orleans? No.
I would say no.
No.
As much as we would love the company.
That's not a detour.
No, it's not. The only reason if you were going to go to Kansas, and you wouldn't even go to Kansas, you would stay in Kansas City, Missouri side and visit like the Kansas City Art Museum, going and having some good barbecue. A lot of that stuff. I mean, there's some good barbecue on the Kansas side of Kansas City, but you go downtown Kansas City, that's where you get the good stuff. And that's all in Missouri. Okay. So still no.
Gates.
Yeah.
God, I miss good barbecue.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, there's good stuff in Wichita if you don't want to go quite that north. I mean, Kansas City's better. But
yeah.
But there's also Oklahoma City, which is even less north,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's like Chicago. Where are they going? New Orleans?
Chicago to New Orleans. They're just going straight south. Yeah. But they're saying, is it worth it to make a detour? And it's like, no.
Like, how do I?
Not.
If what you're asking is how do I avoid the deep south? I guess you could go through like Missouri, Oklahoma, and Texas, but it's still going to be. There's still going to be issues there.
I mean,
you're just really wanting to avoid Arkansas.
I mean, no, there's no reason to come to Kansas.
Doesn't want to avoid Arkansas.
Go to Arkansas, the AR Kansas.
Yes.
Pirate Kansas?
Yes. I'm going to rewrite Texura's final question for this episode. Texura says, is there one question you wish someone would ask because you really want to give the answer? And the answer is yes. Yes, there is. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on this episode. If you want to join our Discord, go join our Discord. I know I was bagging on communities before, but we really have one of the best communities out there. We've got channels on everything that you may be interested in, whether it be video games, RPG systems. You have questions on being a tabletop gamer. We have categories for Critical Hit. If you're into sports, we've got that. Movies, TV, comic books, all of our other podcasts that are out there. If you didn't realize, we have other podcasts. We got the Major Spoilers podcast, which is a comic book podcast. Legion Clubhouse, which is a comic book podcast specifically about the Legion of Superheroes. We have Top 5, which is our listicle show. So if you want to find out what is our top 5 RPG games, we probably have an episode about that somewhere in the hundreds of episodes that we have released, and so much more when you join our Discord. And again, if you found value in this episode, a little value back, head over to patreon.com/Major Spoilers. We will certainly appreciate you even more. And until next time, here's hoping all of your dice rolls are critical hits. Critical Hit is a production of Major Spoilers Entertainment, LLC, and is produced and edited by me, Stephen Schleicher. If you have thoughts, questions, comments, ideas, drop us an email at podcast@majorspoilers.com. If you want to discuss Critical Hit with other Critical Hit fans, be sure to join the Major Spoilers Discord. You can join it for free. There's a link in the show notes. Get into that Critical Hit channel and talk to your heart's content. If you're looking for character sheets, we've got those too. Point your browser to patreon.com/Major Spoilers.
This podcast is copyright 2026 by Major Spoilers Entertainment, LLC.